Hey, Fuzzy here. Recently I felt like going to death metal vomit, but I listened to these albums from CDs and what was on the vinyl. First, Singing Woman. I'll start with Warlock's debut album called Burning the Witches. I have the Belgian edition of Mausoleum Records from 1984. Perfect. Hard rock, heavy metal with Doropesh, which I like very much. Warlock. Then Lita Ford's fifth album, Dangerous Curves, European edition of RCA Records from 1991, vocalist and songwriter who was the lead guitars from The Runaways in the late 70s before embarking on a successful solo career. Very good hard rock, glam metal. On the album we'll hear, among others, Matt Bisonet on bass, or Jeff Scott Soto, or Jolene Turner in back vocals. Very good album. Next, another former member of the Runaways, American rock singer, songwriter, composer Joan Jett, and her 1990 The Hit List album featuring classics from other artists. Here we have Dirty Deeds Done the Cheap, AC/DC, or songs from Sex Pistols, The Doors, Creedence Clearwater Revival, ZZ Top, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Electric is the third album by British rock band The Cult, released in 1987 by Beggars Banquet, UK pressing. Perfect hard rock album, phenomenal compositions, masterful performance. I love this album. Never enough of such playing. Electric, The Cult. And now, Warrant, hard rock glam metal band from Hollywood, LA, California. Here is the band's third album from 1992 called Dog Eat Dog. A European release by Columbia, made in Holland. Very, very good album, Dog Eat Dog. Time for the third album of the Canadian Killer Dwarfs, Big Deal, 1988. Epic Records, European press, released in the Netherlands. It's a pleasure to listen to this album. Fantastic. Killer Dwarfs. And the fifth album of the German Fightful Breath, entitled Golden Glory from 1984. They started out as a progressive rock band, but eventually turned into a heavy metal band in the early 80s. I have a Polish press by Pronit. Pronit 1984. Solid German heavy metal, Fightful Breath. And here is a Fightful Breath after changing the name to Risk and changing the musical style. Solid thrash speed metal. Here their second album, Hell's Animals, from 1989. German pressing, Steamhammer, a very nice album. Risk. And finally the Czech band Citron with the album Radegast from 1987, conceptual album based on Slavonic myths, especially the god Radegast. The lyrics are in Czech, released by Supraphon in Czechoslovakia. Supraphon, Citron, Radegast, great heavy metal record. And what was from the CDs? Mostly death metal. Right now I am excited about new Skeletal Remains album, The Entombed of Chaos, which will be released in September. I refreshed previous Skeletal Remains albums that I have. Their second album, Condemned to Misery from 2015, FDA Records, and their third album, Devouring Mortality from 2018, the European edition of Century Media, great death metal band from California. Skeletal Remains, and more death metal, Finnish death metal, Demigod's debut album Slumber of the Soul and Ice from 1992, fantastic album. I have a remastered reissue of Extreme Music from 2006 with additional demo, Unholy Domain from 1991, and one of Finland's very first death metal bands, Funebre, with the only full-length album, Children of the Scorn from 1991. It's also a reissue of Extreme Music from 2004, including the demo from 1989 and the demo from 1990. Amazing Finnish death metal bands, Funebre and Demigod. More death metal bands, this time from Mexico. Legendary underground death metal band from Mexico City, The Chasm, with the EP Reaching the Veil of Death. Lux Inframundis Productions from 2001, brilliant CD. Now Cenotaph and their third album Epic Rites, 9 epic tales and death rites. Mexican edition of Us Productions from 1996 on this album, and EP Reaching the Veil of Death. We've got legendary Julio Viterbo on guitars, and death metal bands from Tijuana, Infernal Conjuration with their second album Infernale Metallum Mortis. From last year, Iron Bonehead Productions, for me one of the best albums in this genre in 2019. More death metal, German blackened death metal act Sulfur Aeon, and the brilliant third album, The Site of Comic Chaos from 2018, a wonderful album playing at the highest level, Van Records, Digipack, Sulfur, on the side of Cosmic Chaos. And finally, traditional heavy metal band from Santiago, Chile, Lucifer's Hammer, with their debut album Beyond the Omens, Shadow Kingdom Records, from 2016. A very, very good album. So much from me today. Take care. Cheers.